So the first question is discuss what you think is happening in the scene using the beginning, middle, end model.
Okay, so for the beginning, I believe that it's Duke Sr. talking about his life in exile from where he's exiled from. And he kind of talks about living in the woods and then living in court after he's been exiled. And he thinks that it's harsh, but he likes the beauty and the nature of living in the woods, I guess.
Yeah, like I would say the beginning is just the Duke being like, "Yeah, I'm exiled now," but it's not half as bad in a way. Like
Hmm.
he's trying to see like a positive outlook on no longer being like the Duke of like. I don't think it specifically tells us what Duke he's from, but the Duke of wherever he's like lived in,
Hmm.
and it's just him speaking to his fellow like people that were exiled alongside him and saying like, yeah, we're exiled now and we did live in like this fancy environment, more royalty of a more royal environment, but now we're in the woods, but the woods aren't half as bad in a way.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then the middle part, I guess they get more deep into the life of living in the woods, and they're talking about providing for themselves, and they talk about hunting venison, and this is when the First Lord introduces the Jacques guy about how he was felt like a sense of melancholy because of the stag he saw that was hurt.
Yeah.
And
So yeah, so I got something similar from the middle where it's like they're now trying to survive in being the wilderness. So
hmm
they're talking about like finding food in a way and trying to like to go out hunting. But the first lord feels more sympathy towards like the animals. And he's
hmm
saying like, yeah, I know we have to hunt, but he's like, I feel bad if we hunt these like deers and I is the first lord named Jacques, or is that just like
I think he talks about in I think what is
because
it
he
called?
says the name Jacques, but I don't know like if that's one of them or.
I think he's
But
talking about a story. Like he's
okay,
saying for example, the
yeah,
Jaquez, and I think Jaquez might be either part of the area's legend or maybe a part of their kingdom or something like that that they
mhm,
were exiled from.
yeah. Um, but the yeah, so in the middle, like the first lord's just using if it's like someone else, if like a story they heard from, he's quoting that specific
Hmm.
character to kind of show like empathy towards the animals that they're planning on hunting.
Hmm. And then the ending scene, for the end of the block, he Duke Senior, you can tell that he's interested in Jaquez or Jackie's, and he is asking to meet him because he wants to understand his melancholy for the stag or the animals just in general.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I agree that they're talking about like with trying to Duke Senior's just trying to figure out like where did he leave like this deer that he felt like so sorry about, and then the second lord was the one that's like, oh, I know where, and I'll take you to him, and well, he said I'll know there, I'll like I know where, and then the Duke's like, well, would you take me to him? I'd like to see him, and then the second lord was like, yeah, of course. So it's like the ending scene is just I think going to go find either like Shaquez if he's a real person or find the deer that he felt so much sympathy for.
Hmm. Hmm. And then that kind of leads us into what we believe our protagonist is. And I definitely agree. I think the protagonist is Duke Sr. just because he's obviously the head of the discussion. He starts it. He says, which we can quote. He says in the first line, now my co-mates and brothers in exile. And he addresses his court. And then I guess we can just assume that like he's the central figure of the play or this scene in general because he's
Yeah.
addressing them, and then you can take it if you want.
Yeah, I also agree that it's Duke Senior. That's our protagonist, at least in this scene, since these are the only characters we know. Because even like after in the beginning, in the middle, he's the one that starts the conversation about hunting, which everyone then starts talking about it because he says, "Come and come, shall we go and kill us venison?" And they start talking about hunting and like why some of them don't want to hunt, why some of them do want to hunt. So it's kind of like he's the one that's guiding them, especially in this scene. He's guiding the conversation and he's swaying them to do what he wants to do in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the end, he says, where is it? In the end, he says, "Show me the place. I love to cope him in these stolen fits, for then he's full of matter." And then they're like, "Oh, I'll bring you to him." So they're like following him, even though he's no longer like in a position of power over them.
Yeah.
Like they don't have to be listening to him, but they still are, which shows that his words still hold meaning to them.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And it definitely shows in this scene, like how
Yeah,
he sets the stage, so to speak, and then they continue on with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I have.
So good. All right, I'll end it now.
Are we? I think we're two
Oh,
minutes in. I think we're good.
yeah, we're good.
Okay. I
Recording.
don't know. These questions were far